I want to take a moment to talk about something really important: mental health. Now, I've had the chance to try therapy a few times in my life, and let me tell you, it's always been a helpful tool when sorting through difficult moments. Therapy gave me the space to work through challenges, and more importantly, it helped me gain tools to deal with whatever life throws my way. That's why I'm excited to share something I think is really awesome. Rula. It's a healthcare company that makes therapy more accessible so you can get the support you need when you need it. Finding the right therapist can feel overwhelming, but with Rula, it's easier than ever. With a network of over 10,000 therapists and psychiatrists nationwide, you can find the perfect match for your needs, preferences, and state requirements, whether you're looking for talk therapy or medication management. Plus, most major insurances are accepted, so you can pay as little as $15 per session. And another thing that sets Rula apart is their end-to-end care. They're with you every step of the way, from matching you with the right professional to scheduling appointments and even tracking your progress. Rula is dedicated to your success, ensuring you get quality care with carefully screened providers and support throughout your journey. So whether you're looking for therapy or medication help, Rula has the range of care you need. It's all about finding the right solution, even if you're not exactly sure what that is. Thousands have already trusted Rula to support them on their journey toward improved mental health and overall well-being. Head on over to rula.com/diaries to get started today. After you sign up, they ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them our show sent you. Go to rula.com/diaries and take the first step towards better mental health today. You deserve quality care from someone who cares. This episode is sponsored in part by our friends over at Sono Bello. Genetics can be truly amazing. Maybe you inherited your mom's beautiful eyes, her radiant skin, or a smile that lights up the room. But sometimes, not always, but sometimes, we inherit traits that we wish we could change. Like those areas of our body that just don't feel like us. It's not uncommon to catch yourself thinking, ugh, I got my mom's belly and love handles. But remember, genetics don't have to define your confidence. You deserve to feel great in your own skin, and that includes loving the way you look. Don't let genetics hold you back. Explore the permanent solutions at Sono Bello and take the first step toward the body that you've always wanted. Our friends over at Sono Bello are offering you their literal best deal. You're now included in their winter savings event. But appointments are limited, so if you want this, you need to get on this now. Sono Bello doctors are masters in micro laser fat removal. It's this brilliant technique that removes stubborn fat permanently. That's right, permanently. Wherever your problem areas are, whether it's your tummy, love handles, thighs, even your arms, it's gone in one comfortable visit. Yes, eating healthy and workouts are great. Keep doing that. But if you want to lose that stubborn fat in just one visit, check out Sono Bello. You can save big during their winter savings event. Schedule your free consultation now at sonobello.com/diaries. That's Sono Bello, BELLO.com/diaries. You know what I don't miss at all? That brutal week before my period when I'm exhausted and all I want is sweets. All of them. I'm talking chocolate, cookies, chips, basically anything with sugar or salt. It's like my body takes over and I can't stop. That's when I found Happy Mammoth. It's so much easier to manage PMS with their estro control. Happy Mammoth is the company that created Hormone Harmony, and they're dedicated to making women's lives easier. That means using only science-backed ingredients that have been proven to work for women. They make no compromise when it comes to quality, and honestly, it shows. The biggest benefit to Hormone Harmony is really feeling like myself again. That's what women mention over and over in their reviews. And there are literally over 17,000 reviews for Hormone Harmony. For a limited time, you can get 15% off your entire first order at happymammoth.com. Just use the code DIARIES at checkout. That's happymammoth.com and use the code DIARIES for 15% off today. A special thanks to Happy Mammoth for sponsoring today's episode.
Welcome to another episode of Unscripted. I'm Paige.
And I'm Natalie, and I am so excited to be here with Paige and all of you to chat about what we've found online this week.
I love doing Unscripted so much. So thanks again to all of our listeners that keep it being something that we get to do. We appreciate all of you. If this is your first episode, this is where you get to listen in on what a phone call would be for me and Natalie, because you don't always get that in our normal episodes. So we love to clue you guys in on the other things we talk about. Did you watch the Oscars?
I didn't watch the Oscars, but I definitely caught clips on social media and I made sure to see what everyone was wearing.
Yes. Beautiful outfits. And I also really liked Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande's performance.
Oh, I saw that performance.
Of course. And it's funny because everybody in the comments is like, oh, the way Ariana steps aside for Cynthia. And it's like, well, of course they are friendly. And I think that they really do champion each other. But this is a choreographed stage performance, people. It's a performance.
Yeah, it's a performance. She's not going to stand there while Cynthia is doing her solo part. It doesn't make sense.
Which just every time I hear her sing that, I'm like, she is my alphaba. I mean, Idina Menzel was and still is my stage alphaba, but I think Cynthia is going to ring true as my alphaba for like ever, especially if I'm ever listening to that soundtrack. I don't listen to show tunes all the time.
I do.
But every once in a while, I get in the mood and I'm going to listen to Hamilton or I'm going to listen to Wicked or what have you. But I do love Idina and Kristen Chenoweth as well. I just think if I'm going to listen to Wicked, though, I'm probably going to listen to the movie soundtrack these days.
It's nice. You have options now.
Hey, I'll take it. Getting back to Oscars specific things, though, Anora really took a lot of the big, the big 9 or whatever. They took Best Director. They took Best Actress, which good for you, Mikey Madison. That's her name. She's only 25 and she's the second youngest woman to win Best Actress in a lead performance. Pretty cool.
It's incredible. There were a lot of great actresses in the category. I haven't seen the movie. She really must have brought a great performance.
If she beat out Demi Moore for Substance, that is a feat. I wondered if Demi was going to take it. I'm sad for her she didn't to a certain extent, but it is cool to see somebody super young getting some love. But she's time in her career, right? And Demi, who looks phenomenal comparatively to her role in Substance, she looks kind of like, I haven't seen the movie, but I've seen enough clips and know enough about it. She's got like dandruffy looking hair. I really thought that she could have deserved it. That would have been a great capstone. But also, again, really cool that somebody young is getting a push in a younger career. Again, she's only 25. She's going to be 26 at the end of this month, I think. Good for her. And that movie is interesting. It's an indie film. That's another thing about this year's Oscars is that indie films like Anora were getting some love, which is really cool too, because that's the art of it all, don't you think?
It's nice to bring it back to the smaller productions and open it up to everyone. As you were talking, I was Googling who announced Best Picture for the Anora win. Okay, I just watched a clip. I found it. It's Meg Ryan and Billy Crystal, the famous counterparts in When Harry Met Sally. They're presenting the award for Best Picture, and he opens the envelope and says, the winner is, and she goes, oh, Anora. What kind of reaction is that?
I didn't even notice that again because I was more lost in waiting to hear the name that I wasn't paying attention to the reaction. But I wasn't that surprised it was Anora because they won Best Director, which we all know if you win Best Director, most years you're also winning Best Picture. I would love to see a chart that shows Best Director and Picture and who won both of them. I bet you it would be the majority of years, right?
I imagine it matches up a lot of the years. I think the only reason I was able to zero in on this moment is because I watched clips of the evening. I didn't watch the televised ceremony all the way through. And I had stumbled across a few spoofs of that moment. And I just thought, there's no way that that's accurate. Sometimes comedians online will exaggerate. That's their job. They're exaggerating a moment that happened. And it was really funny to me. So I went and found the clip and it's pretty accurate. She really does go, oh. This is no hate to Meg Ryan at all because I love her, but it was just a funny little moment.
Watching Anora, I kind of feel like you violate Mikey? Like, I don't know. Like, she is naked in so much of that movie. I swear you could see like every body part of her. Like, I see why she ended up winning. She really had to like show a lot of her body a lot of the time.
I don't know if it was actors on actors, but there was an interview between her and Pamela Anderson, and they were talking about intimacy coordinators. Obviously, intimacy coordinators wasn't really a thing for Pamela Anderson as she was an actress in the early 90s, late 90s, whatever. That role has been in the news because I hate to bring them up again, but like Lively, Justin Baldoni, It Ends With Us. And that's, I believe, the reason why that conversation was initiated. And Mikey actually said in the interview that they didn't have one. She chose not to have one. And she felt more comfortable, or, I'm paraphrasing, so don't quote me, but yeah, she felt more comfortable without one. And she just felt like she was able to get more into the role.
I could see that. It would almost make things a little awkward instead of being able to just be you and whatever scene partner and just going for what needs to happen in the scene.
Rather than being too choreographed or something.
Yes.
Each actor and each production is going to be different, but I was surprised to see that or hear that response, especially with all the dialogue going on surrounding boundaries for actors in intimate settings. Yeah, that was interesting. And I didn't realize she was so exposed. And that was something that Pamela Anderson had brought up. She was just like, I believe she said in the interview, I just wanted to cover you up. And that's like her maternal instincts coming out. Because, she obviously is very famously a Playboy bunny, Playmate of the Year.
Yeah. She got discovered on Teletron, right?
Yes. At a baseball game or something, a sporting event.
Then something to do with Budweiser or something, like maybe they picked her for a campaign for that. Like, I'm not all there with it, but I do know it was a Teletron at some kind of sporting game. You could tell how much I care about sports. And yeah, it's a wild story. And she was so young. So luckily, Mikey, being probably 24 when that was filmed, almost 26 now, is making decisions a little bit easier with knowledge because of pioneers like Pamela Anderson. And utilizing that for empowerment as opposed to getting taken advantage of, but it's a thin line.
And I don't think Pamela Anderson was saying any of that to be condescending or anything. It was more like she's been there and she could see how it could go awry.
Yes.
But I do think that it sounds like Mikey had a good experience on the film. And so to be rewarded for her great performance for Best Actress and then to win for Best Picture, it must have been great. I guess I better add it to my to be watched list.
Yeah, just be ready for a lot of nudity. Because this is no spoilers, so don't worry anybody if you haven't watched it, which I always make sure to watch. If I already haven't watched it, I will always watch whatever movie wins Best Picture. Because, let's even start with Parasite from all those years ago when it won Best Picture. I had no idea what that movie was. I was like, guess I'll be watching that. One of my favorite movies. And I don't always love having to read subtitles for an entire movie.
Oh, I have subtitles on for everything. Even I have them on for TikTok. I have them on for TV. I have them on for movies. It's just like, I feel like I can focus better.
I can focus when the language is English and the subtitles are English. But if the language is not English and you have to read subtitles, you have to concentrate more on the subtitles. Put it that way.
You're dependent on them.
Instead of the subtitles just being a visual part where you're getting visual and audio. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like the way I use subtitles are more of an enhancement versus depending on them. So,
exactly.
I see what you're saying.
My husband always is like, can we turn the subtitles off? I'm like, no.
Me and Tim are always like, oh my God, we've been watching without subtitles. That's why I'm confused. Because we'll be like doing other things.
I digress, or I shall say we digress. So we digress. But all that to say, I loved Parasite and you have to watch it with subtitles. And it was such a great movie. So since then, I have been like, I'm going to watch every movie that wins Best Picture. And since that, I have not really been let down. There are years where I've seen like every movie that has Oscar nods. And then there are years where it's like, I really didn't make it to the movies a lot, did I? And this has been one of those years. I really hadn't seen a lot of the movies, but a lot of them are on my list. The Substance, the Bob Dylan movie, A Great Unknown. People have a lot to say about that movie too, though. So I don't know.
This episode is sponsored in part by our friends at Hers. Let's face it, weight loss can feel overwhelming to say the least. That's why Hers is changing the game. By providing access to GLP-1 medications plus expert care, they make your goals more achievable. Hers is literally transforming women's healthcare by providing access to affordable weight loss treatment plans that are delivered straight to your door if prescribed. Hers offers a holistic weight loss program with personalized solutions that include compounded GLP-1 weekly injections that feature the same active ingredient as Ozempic and Wegovy, or even oral medication kits. It's so easy to do. Here's how it works. After you submit an online intake form, a licensed medical provider will determine what plan is best for you. If prescribed, your program includes medication, ongoing care, and online support, and it's all at one low cost. Weight loss plans are more affordable through Hers with compounded GLP-1 injections starting at $165 per month. That's with a 12-month plan paid up front for new subscribers. No hidden fees and absolutely no membership fees. So if you've been struggling with your weight loss journey, it's time you find the best option that works for you through Hers. Start your initial free online visit today at forhers.com/diaries. That's forhers.com/diaries for your personalized weight loss treatment options. Forhers.com/diaries. Hers weight loss is not available everywhere. Compounded products are not FDA approved or verified for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription required. Restrictions apply. Wegovy and Ozempic are not compounded. Actual price depends on product and plan purchased.
Today's episode is brought to you by Acorns. People often say that the best investor is a dead investor. Morbid or not, here's why. It's because those who have passed can't make rash decisions, and they can't pull their money out in a panic every time they hear about a dip in the stock market. Acorns is built to help you invest for the long term, and, well, you don't need to be dead. Acorns lets you get started with the spare money you've got right now. What's great about it too is you don't need a ton of time. You can create your Acorns account and start investing in just 5 minutes. Basically, Acorns does all the hard parts so you can give your money a chance to grow. Sign up now and join over 14 million all-time customers who have already saved and invested over $25 billion with Acorns. Head to acorns.com/diaries or download the Acorns app to get started. Paid non-client endorsement. Compensation provides incentive deposit to grow Acorns. Tier 1 compensation provided. Investing involves risk. Acorns Advisors, LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor. View important disclosures at acorns.com/diaries.
Uh-oh. The last cookie.
You can get a new box of cookies in as fast as an hour with Walmart Express Delivery.
Are you my guilty self-conscience?
No, I'm the voice offering you promo code EXPRESS for free delivery on your first order.
Hey, who ate my cookies?
You mean, these cookies?
Order now. Welcome to your Walmart. Promotion valid for first express delivery order. $50 minimum subject to availability. Restrictions apply.
This episode is brought to you by Prime Video. In the small town of Holland, Michigan, nothing is ever what it seems. Behind the tulip festivals and pretty houses lay dark secrets that threaten to tear a marriage apart. Nicole Kidman stars in this darkly twisted thriller about a wife and mother whose quest to uncover her husband's secrets may get her more than she bargained for. Holland, streaming on Prime Video March 27th.
Are your ulcerative colitis symptoms proving difficult to manage? Tremfya guselkumab can help you manage the cycle of UC symptoms. At 1 year, many patients taking Tremfya achieved clinical remission, and some patients also achieved endoscopic remission. Individual results may vary. Tremfya is a prescription medicine used to treat adults with moderately to severely active ulcerative colitis. Serious allergic reactions and increased risk of infections may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check you for infections and TB. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, flu-like symptoms, or if you need a vaccine. Ask your doctor if Tremfya can help you manage the cycle of UC symptoms. Call 1-800-526-7736 to learn more or visit tremfyaradio.com.
So speaking of Hollywood, I actually just saw a video with Alice Cooper, who is famously the singer from Alice Cooper. He's the front man.
Was not expecting this.
I was like holding on to it. I've been wanting to tell you about it. So I saw a video. I believe the YouTube video came out 6 years ago. So it's been around, but it came across my algorithm yesterday or the day before. And in the video, Alice Cooper is saying that, did you know I own the first O in the Hollywood sign? I thought, oh, that's interesting. And he goes on to explain that in the late 1970s, the Hollywood sign, as we love and know it, was dilapidated. It was falling apart. It had just experienced a really harsh windstorm and it was falling apart. And I actually did find a picture of Alice Cooper and his wife in front of that dilapidated Hollywood sign. So it turns out that he reached out to the Chamber of Commerce and said, hey, like, what are we going to do about this? It looks awful. And he learns that each letter is about $27,000 to fix. So it ends up being about $250,000, $250,000 to fix the entire sign, which would be about $1.2 million in today's money. Somehow Hugh Hefner gets wind of this and he hosts a fundraiser that's like $150 per ticket, and they auction off the letters in order for people to sponsor each letter of the Hollywood sign. I believe the event was held at the Playboy Mansion. Andy Williams bought the W, or he paid the $27,000 for the W. Alice Cooper bought the first O in honor of his best friend, Groucho Marx, who had just passed away. Spielberg bought a letter, and Terrence Donnelly, Gene Autry. There's just a bunch of people that chipped in to pay to fix the Hollywood sign. And I just thought, oh, wow, what a fun story. And it turns out that this happened in 1978. It landed on the 75th anniversary of Hollywood. And just for a little bit of background, this is something that I'm so interested in. It's in fact something that we cover in one of the film classes I teach. For those who are listening and don't know, I am a college professor in the film, TV, media department at a local college. So the film industry really did start in the late 1800s with Thomas Edison. And that was like in New Jersey, New York, very East Coast. Now, even though these film studios started out on the East Coast, they had to make the move to the West Coast because they were really trying to avoid and escape Thomas Edison's motion picture patents company. There were a lot of lawsuits by this company that were making it difficult for filmmakers to use his technology. So that distance, that literal physical distance between California and the East Coast, made it easier and gave them freedom that they wouldn't otherwise have had. In addition to the fact that California is notoriously sunny almost 365 days of the year, so that makes it easier to shoot. So anyway, that's why some people may not realize that even though the first films, as they started back in the late 1800s, that really wasn't the start of Hollywood as we know and love it. And now I'm realizing that was a really long-winded way of explaining to anyone who might be interested that 1978 was the 75th anniversary of Hollywood.
So I took a film class, and it was pretty incredible to learn about women in film and how women really were instrumental in the film industry as well. But so quickly, as bigger studios started being built, like the ones you're talking about, it wiped women out. So the dudes came in and were like, oh, wait, this isn't just a hobby, an artsy hobby for women. Like if you look at silent film, there's a lot more women in it. So I love hearing about historical parts of the film industry because, as we both know, I love film, but also that is the most LA story I've ever heard. And this is why when you live in Southern California, you love to hate LA, because stories like that really are like so heartwarming, where because the primary industry and many of the people of wealth there are artsy folk. They are grown-up theater kids, grown-up artists of other avenues, and they cannot stand by and watch a beautiful landmark like that go away after not even 100 years. I'm hearing it was like around 75 years. So they said, hey, let's all band together and pay the equivalent of, I think I heard 2 million?
1.2 million in today's money.
That's a lot of money. You know, a lot of actors, while they have money, they are just one financial disaster away from losing all that money too, even though we think that they're super wealthy, and they might be, but like it's still that same thing. The more money you have, the more money you spend. And so they still are in that realm where like they're not Jeff Bezos. They are worth a lot, but they're not Bezos.
Right. They're obviously getting paydays that are significantly higher than the average Joe gets, but they also have expenses, like you're saying, that the average Joe doesn't have. They have managers, They have agents, and they're taking percentages of whatever they're making, and lawyers. It all adds up. So they don't really end up taking home the huge paydays that we believe that they're getting, or that we hear in the rumors that they got paid for a film. They're not getting that amount. Not to say I wouldn't want to trade places with them and cash that check, but it is not as much as we would expect.
They pay into a lot of their projects too. They produce them. It's a way to keep their careers alive and keep those paydays coming. So a lot of them are like, let's say they want to do music and they do music. A lot of times they're fronting that.
Same with like smaller, smaller aspiring actors and musicians too. But you're right. They do tend to pay into their passion projects, I guess.
Yeah, we're not bootlicking, but it's just important to remember that this is an art industry, not a banking, finance, whatever other type of industry like that. It's different, So anyways, very cool, very heartwarming. I never knew that they had to save the Hollywood sign, but that's also extremely LA to have a minor, what do you want to call it, weather event, and it ruins something historical, and that city will save it. They fought so hard to save Marilyn Monroe's house, and it seemed like it wasn't going to be. I think this was last year, but luckily it was saved. So Marilyn Monroe's house stands.
I heard that about Betty White's house too.
Oh, I'm so sure.
Yeah, I'm trying to think where exactly it was, but she had lived there for 50 years or something, and she didn't have anyone to leave it to. And so there was talk about what would happen to it. But speaking of Hollywood and people who pass away, because as we're talking about these houses that no longer have their owners, Dolly Parton's husband, Carl, passed away. They were married for 60 years. They met when they were 18, and she just posted something recently, I think this morning, a tribute to him, and basically said that their love would live on and she would remember him in song. And I don't know if it was an older song or something. I didn't get to look too into it because then we had to start recording, but that made me really sad. I can't imagine.
That's beautiful. And I love the word choice there because it's so moving to see her strength through that and saying, hey, I'm not even 80 years old. Okay. I think she's going to be 80 in January because I have a sickness, everybody. I have a sickness. I must look up your age. I must do it. And I will. So
be afraid. She will find out how old you are.
Well, I guess if you're a celeb, I have to know. My brain can't help it. So when I heard her husband passed, I immediately needed to look at how old he was, how old she was. He's a little bit older, but not by much. And I believe she'll be 80 in January. And so she does have life to live. She could have another decade and a half, 2 decades if she lives to 100. She does have some life to live and to be there for the rest of her family and loved ones instead of saying like, how will I go on without you? Which is so flippin' valid. She's showing strength to her supporters, her followers, her fans who a lot of them have been fans for decades, raised by people who have been fans for decades. Yeah. Generations. People are raising their children on Dolly Parton. And I love her. And the thing I love even the most about her is that children's like library book
I was going to say that she's helping raise the children of the US because she never was able to have children of her own. I actually really do admire her just for everything that she's gone through. And she also has endometriosis, which, when you hear another celebrity, you hear some public figure with something that you have and that can relate to you. That's why she never had kids.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's why it has taken me, I don't know, however long through infertility. And I just admire everything she's been able to do with her life despite any hardships she's experienced.
Yeah.
So she does have that library that she fully funds. And if you write to it with your child's birth date and their address, a book will be delivered every month up until the age of 5.
Yeah.
And
it's incredible.
She could be, I heard that she could be a billionaire if she didn't donate significant amounts of money. And so she hasn't reached it, but she doesn't care that she hasn't reached it.
Well, and I think it just goes to show, I don't want to call it philanthropy, but let's call it that though. Philanthropy and just having a good moral ground by not becoming a billionaire, because you don't become a billionaire because you have a super awesome idea and you make a lot of money on it. That's not how you do it. I'm not going to get super political. Don't worry, everybody. But like, that is the truth. It's very clear. It's easily tracked. You can see it isn't. That's not how you become it. So she probably could have set up more businesses that then exploited in certain ways that got her to being a billionaire, but she didn't need it. She didn't want it and she didn't do it. And to that, I respect. And I really need to see Taylor Swift, by the way, donate money now that she's a billionaire since Eras Tour. And it's TikTok, lady. TikTok. No, I can't force people to do anything. I sound like an idiot, but
can I say something on Taylor Swift's behalf? And I never thought I would. Not that,
hey, please.
I'm not a hater. I feel like I'm pretty Taylor neutral.
Yes, you are. You respect it.
I do respect her talent and her skill and her business acumen, but I also think that there's a lot of obsession surrounding her. So I'm always a little bit wary of that. But she did donate to the California fires. So,
yes.
And it was a significant amount of money, maybe not to her. She probably didn't even feel it. I don't know.
Right.
But it still was more than a lot of other people gave. And no one asked her to. She did it on her own. So I do want to give kudos where kudos are due.
Absolutely. And she will likely figure something out, do something right. Like she's just not going to do a Bezos, Musk, Bloomberg, whoever else, and just let that continue to into hundreds of billions. And here's where the reality can become really striking. If $1 million is like a week or somewhere around there in terms of time, $1 billion, just $1 billion, is 32 years. Think of a 1-week-old child versus a 32-year-old adult that gave birth to that child. Let us talk about it that way. So when you see somebody with hundreds of billions, you can't earn that much money.
No.
It's not possible. So you're exploiting it. You're garnering it from somewhere. And obviously these businesses have been scaled hugely. So I get it. But like, no, make no mistake.
Well, and then at that level, the beauty and power of compound interest just takes into full effect. You literally make more money just by having your money invested. So
yeah,
it's impossible to spend the amount of money that most of these billionaires have.
So I just don't see the point in keeping it, number one. Number two, you can see all the issues in the world that you have drastically contributed to because your carbon footprint is so huge. So again, thinking of how I've seen Taylor and the evidence of her in the past, I have hope and faith that she will probably not pass away a billionaire. She will do something right and hopefully continue to impact and make a difference. I know Selena Gomez does, who has new music coming out, by the way, in March. Very excited about that.
I know we want to talk about the Selena Gomez new music.
And I should say this month, by the way, it's March. Sorry, I'm an idiot. I'm like, in March, it's March. But yes, go ahead.
I have to make a recommendation because we're talking about these billionaires who have unprecedented amounts of money that will never be spent. There's actually an Apple TV show called Loot starring Maya Rudolph. And Tim and I watched it. We loved it. It was so funny. I believe there's 2 seasons. We binged both. And it's basically about a woman named Molly Novak, who is kind of like a Melinda Gates, who was once married to Bill Gates. And she becomes the 3rd wealthiest woman in the world after divorcing her tech husband.
Oh,
and
no.
Then she has to decide what to do with her $87 billion settlement.
See what I'm saying? 87 times 32 people. Nobody lives that long. Okay.
It's time for basketball, and Uber Eats is dropping deals on game day favorites to keep you locked in on the action. Like when you're craving a buzzer beater, but also buffalo wings. Or when an upset makes you want to ugly cry into a pizza. And right now, Uber Eats has game day deals from McDonald's, Popeyes, Pizza Hut, Wendy's, and hundreds more local favorites. So you can keep your eyes on the ball and your hands on a hamburger. Order now, only on Uber Eats. Product availability varies by region. See app for details.
This episode is brought to you by Coffee Mate. After watching this season of the HBO's original series, The White Lotus, this is the tropical getaway I needed. One more pina colada, please.
Hey, you're not on mute.
Oh, I thought I was in paradise. Turns out it was my Coffee Mate. Coffee Mate pina colada and Thai-iced coffee flavored creamers. Inspired by the newest season of HBO's original series, The White Lotus. For the love of coffee. Try now.
Good night, itchy eyes. Good night, sudden sneeze. Good night to your symptoms of allergies. Xyzal is the allergy medicine you take before bed. It provides powerful relief while you rest your head. Not just all night, but all the next day. Xyzal keeps working, keeping allergies at bay. And without those annoying symptoms disturbing your rest, you can wake up the next morning feeling your absolute best. Remember, be wise all. Take Xyzal. At night.
Here at the Almond Joy Factory, where tropical vibes abound, we use soft, fresh-tasting coconut.
The crunchiest almonds and delicious chocolate candy.
Ah, but do you know what our most important ingredient is? Sometimes you feel like a nut.
Sometimes you don't.
Almond Almond Joy's got nuts and something even way better than that. Yes, Almond Joy is made with almonds and joy.
Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place. For changes big and small. Loud or quiet. Find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. But you already know that. eBay. Things, people, love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Okay, let's move on.
But like the whole premise of the show is she's going to try, like in the pilot. So I'm not giving anything away. The pilot is, she finds out whatever reason she divorces her husband. I don't want to give just all the nitty gritty details away, but she divorces her husband after finding something out. She gets the settlement. She starts to continue to live her life as she's lived, extravagantly and with no thought to how much money she has and how she spends it. And then she starts to realize like her life is so empty of human connection, empty of any sense of like what's real. And so this is all in the pilot, so I'm not giving it away. Like the whole premise is she starts to go work at a charity that her and her husband had founded, and she decides what to do with her money there. Anyway, it's a great show. I really do recommend. I love Maya Rudolph. She is such a talent.
I have seen that in the suggested areas, so I will definitely check that out for sure. Yeah, because we're always looking for a new show once we finish the next, So, and I always like one deep show and one not deep show. I need both that I watch with my husband because it's very hard to get him to even want to watch anything. So that's where it's like, okay, are we watching our deep show or like our not deep show? Like one's for bed and one's for like right after dinner or something. Like, I don't know.
You guys are exactly how me and Tim are.
Yeah.
I think this show came out in 2022, so it's still relatively new, but just along the lines of having a deep show, we are still watching Severance. We are obsessed. We're behind though. And I think we're on episode 5 and I think 7 or 8 are out right now. And I'm just dying to get through all of them because I know some things are coming up. I need answers. I need to know what's going on. I need people to talk about the theories I have. And then also once this season's done, I need to start White Lotus. Like Tim and I have one, like you're saying, one deep show. We're watching Severance and we can't start another show until that one's done. So then we're going to start season 3 of White Lotus, which I'm pumped about.
We are week to week with White Lotus and with Severance now. And I know we briefly mentioned Severance last episode. So I'm still week to week, so we kind of ping pong them. But yeah, normally we're binging the same way you are. And then we're like, oh, we're caught up. And then we start something else. But right now we're caught up. So maybe Loot is something we can binge a little bit easier, like on Sunday or something. Because with no kids and stuff like that, like, of course, we get the dog outside and we do that. But like, we do get to take advantage of watching what the heck we want to watch when we want to watch it. So we try and take advantage of that, take the little perks of infertility, I guess.
Absolutely. And I think for a show like this, we are watching it the day it comes out. But for some reason, our schedules just haven't aligned to be able to watch it on time. So it does feel really weird to have to bypass all of these spoilers that are popping up because that's never been an issue before. Like when we were watching House of Dragon, when we were watching Game of Thrones, when we were watching the earlier seasons of these Severance and White Lotus, we were right on the pulse when things were happening. And now it just feels like, oh my God, we're behind. What's going on? Everyone's talking about it and we need to get there. So hopefully we'll get there this weekend.
It does feel like there's a lot of pressure with all of the streaming services and all of the different shows. And luckily my sister recently, so this is like a key point for anybody listening. If you have Max and you have Discovery Plus, you don't need to pay for both. They both have the same shows on them. Outside of Max has all the Max stuff. So keep Max, ditch Discovery Plus. I love you, Discovery, but like I'm not going to pay to have all the shows on Discovery Plus have Max with all those shows on it too. And now Disney Plus has like a lot of the Hulu stuff, but you don't get access to it unless you pay for Hulu. So you still have to pay for like a bundle. So that's what I actually did. I got rid of Discovery Plus and then for like $1 more than I was paying for 2 of them, I have Hulu, Disney Plus, and Max all together. And it was $1 more than I was paying for 2 of them. Plus I got to get rid of $6.99. So I'm up overall. I feel like I'm finally winning. Wait until they catch that one out. They're going to get rid of that
I was
bundle.
Gonna say, you found your way around the system.
A little bit.
Like,
but I was paying.
I have so many subscriptions nowadays. It's hard to keep track.
Hey, it's really hard to keep track of everything that we're subscribed to because everything's a subscription now. But anyways, something that came across my For You page was talking about Millie Bobby Brown, and she made a really poignant video to journalists, basically calling them bullies. And normally you'd look at that and you kind of go, eye roll, like, really, you're in the public eye. Not that you deserve to have things talked about that you don't want, but like, you're in the public eye. People are going to talk about you. Like, what's bullying? She was so, I'm going to say articulate. Like, she just said it so well. The basic issue she had was journalists. Now that she's getting a little bit older, not super old, she's only 21, but she's not a teenager anymore. All of these things, her body is being talked about more and more and more. And she is a married woman. So maybe they're also just kind of viewing her as older in that regard because they're just saying weird things about work she does or doesn't have done. And just, again, other things about her body. And she is basically just like calling them to like, please stop. And it's making her, rightfully so, very uncomfortable because even if it is plastic surgery, that isn't a right for you to just go and talk about like people's plastic surgery. Like there are medical things as somebody with a chronic condition, and you'll understand this too. There are certain things that you do or don't want people to know, or like if you are in the mood to tell somebody in a conversation and it makes sense, then great, you do. But that doesn't just give you carte blanche just because you could see that they had their brows lifted. It doesn't really give you the right to like go on and like talk all about it. You know what I mean? Which is weird because it's so visual. I get it. But there still is like a respect and privacy that's needed.
I think I understand where you're coming from and I understand where she's coming from. Nobody likes to be gossiped about, especially on such a public level like Millie Bobby Brown would be. I do think journalists have lost a lot of integrity in recent years because they just go after everyone and they will publish things that aren't necessarily researched or a little scathing. But at the same time, she's a public figure doing public things like walking the red carpet or movies or, other types of premieres. And, I'm never one to say something negative about another woman's body because I know it's not always something you can control. But what I do think I've seen a lot of the public talk about in comments on videos of people addressing that video she posted, saying like, please don't bully me. People have talked about her recent styling, like the clothes she's chosen to wear at these premieres and maybe like her hairstyle.
And that's going to come up. That will come up.
And that's going to come up. And I mean, truthfully, I wouldn't want to be talked about in any regard, but I'm also not walking the red carpet. So I don't have that issue.
Right.
But I do feel that she does have a team surrounding her, and maybe there are people in the team not giving her the best advice for what looks not only age appropriate, but flattering, because she's a very beautiful person. Even if she's had her eyebrows done, if she hasn't, I don't know. But just like the overall look doesn't match how she looked maybe 6 months ago with the type of styling that she's doing. She has this really yellowy blonde hair now. I heard she's going out after the Britney Spears biopic. So that could be why. Or did she get it? I don't know. And she's just wearing a lot more maternal style clothing. And I think that's what people are also latching onto. She's 21 years old. She's dressing significantly older. I don't know. That's just things I've seen.
No, I think that's what we're seeing because even like 2 years ago or closer to when she was about 18, she was rightfully so a lot more youthful in all of it. I think she's wants to, especially with Stranger Things ending, she's probably wants to go out for more roles of her choosing, which maybe some of them are going to be deeper. Maybe some of them might be Britney Spears. She probably could go out for that. Yeah. If you see people starting to look like her, they might actually be auditioning because this is going to be a really serious, big grossing movie. Or I should say high grossing, big grossing. What is wrong with me?
I heard Millie Bobby Brown. People are speculating, the rumors are swirling that she wants to go after the Britney Spears biopic, but also Addison Rae. If you notice, she's also been doing the blonde. So I wonder who else. I wonder who's going to get picked. I'm really excited about this. I'm a big.
Do you want to know who I think could do it?
Fan.
Did you say you are or aren't?
Oh,
I feel like you are. Yeah,
yes,
right?
I'm a really big Britney Jean Spears fan. That's what I said.
Samesies. I was listening to Britney the other day. My husband's like, "You're listening to Britney?" I was like, "Yeah."
It never goes out of style. Excuse you.
Yeah, what are you talking about? Like, yeah, I don't always listen to Britney Spears on my Echo Dot when I'm cooking, which is when he hears it because it's not in earphones, because it often is like higher tempo. And I like a little bit more chill, like the Phoebe Bridgers, lots of Taylor Swift is playing when I'm cooking, you know, people that have more like songwriting stuff, just because it gets me more in like a chill mood. So anyways, he was a little bit shocked to hear like I was cooking with B. Spears the other night. And I'm like, yeah, dude. Anywho, I think Tate McRae could do it. And at first I was super against it. I'm like, why does anybody think Tate McRae is even up for this? And then I remembered how much of a background in dance both Tate and Britney have. And if you listen to Tate singing, she changes what her real voice is to.
Really?
Just like Britney almost like ruined her vocal cords, or so the rumors were, because she, you know, changed it to the like, oh, baby.
Well, she didn't like willingly change it either.
No, they were telling her.
Yeah, she was told to do that because she sounded too close to Christina Aguilera's voice.
Right.
And that is not an exaggeration. If you've seen her perform as a child, there's a couple clips online that you could probably find. She has a very much deeper voice, not like the baby voice that we got to know in Baby One More Time.
You can hear it come through in many of the older songs, or you'll just hear it in some songs where she gets to use her lower register. You can almost just like feel the comfort there instead of the like, you know, the higher babyish voice. They kind of infantilized her, which is so 90s and early 2000s. So sorry, Britney. I'm so sorry. Oh, love her. And I hope that she is doing well. But like, I just feel like she keeps getting like wins and then like more setbacks. And now nobody's talking about her again. So I'm like, what's going on with Britney? You know?
I'm kind of glad no one's talking about her, at least in the grander scheme of pop culture.
Maybe she's at peace. Yeah.
I mean, it sounds like she's dead, girl.
No, but you know what I mean? Like before when we were talking about her, it was so that hopefully
we were worried about her.
The conservatorship would end after 13 years instead of like 6 months like it normally is. You know what I mean? Right. People were worried. But now it's like, if we're not hearing from her, is she okay? Is she not? I feel like maybe we just all have PTSD because we kind of failed her, but not personally. I mean, those around her failed her even more, but
yeah, I don't know. I love her and I hope she's doing well.
Yeah. Go Britney. And I can't wait for the biopic. I wonder when it's going to come out. Is it this year? I wonder.
On the lookout.
No, because they're not even filming yet. So probably 2026 or something. But yeah, it's an exciting
keep our
one.
ears to the ground. But I feel like this is a really good place to end today's episode.
Yeah, let's wrap up this episode. Thank you, everybody, again for listening, being here with us. We love doing this. So it's all because of you. And we love you for listening. So thank you so much. Do not be shy. Leave us a comment on Spotify. We try to read them and respond when we can. So we love hearing from you. And we'll see you next Monday.
Or we'll see you on Thursday.
Yeah. We'll see you Thursday for a regular up and next Monday for another Unscripted.
And until then,
bye.
The search for truth never ends. Introducing June's Journey, a hidden object mobile game with a captivating story. Connect with friends, explore the roaring 20s, and enjoy thrilling activities and challenges while supporting environmental causes. After 7 years, the adventure continues with our immersive travels feature. Explore distant cultures and engage in exciting experiences. There's always something new to discover. Are you ready? Download June's Journey now on Android or iOS.
What is... Dax, are you?
Tracking all our cars on Carvana Value Tracker on all our devices? Yes, Kristen, yes, I am.
Well, I've been looking for my phone for...
In Dax's domain, we see all. So we always know what our cars are worth.
All of them?
All of them. Value surge, trucks up 3.9%.
That's a great offer.
I know. Sell?
Sell.
Track your car's value with Carvana Value Tracker today.